Hello, welcome to The World Today. I'm Amarachi Ubani here in Lagos. Americans will experience the coldest Christmas in decades as temperatures drop to sub-zero. However, the opposite in Brazil, where 2 people have died following torrential rains in the state of Santa Catarina. Welcome back to The World Today. U.S. citizens should be gearing up for one of the coldest Christmases they could be having in decades. And that's because a major winter storm is sweeping through the United States this week. It may bring the coldest Christmas in 4 decades to many parts of the country, according to forecasters. It's a once-in-a-generation cold snap, which began in the Pacific Northwest on Tuesday. Before turning east, it'll become a bomb cyclone, according to forecasters, by Friday. More than 90 million people are under winter weather alerts across 37 states in the U.S. About 80% of the nation is set to experience sub-zero temperatures, including places as far south as Texas. And named Winter Storm Elliott by the Weather Channel, the Arctic blast is expected to deliver the coldest Christmas to the Midwest since the late 1980s. Even Florida, they say, the Sunshine State, is projected to see its coldest Christmas in 30 years. A National Weather Service said bone-chilling temperatures of negative 50 degrees Fahrenheit, that's about negative 45 degrees Celsius, and negative 70 degrees Fahrenheit were possible by the end of this week in some parts of the country. Heavy snowfall and low visibility from the strong winter storm Blackerton, Pacific Canada, brought Vancouver traffic to a standstill and forced the country's second busiest airport in Vancouver to hold all flights on Tuesday morning. Those disruptions are expected to continue until the Christmas weekend. A low-pressure system from the Pacific Ocean combined with very cold Arctic air over British Columbia dragged temperatures down and brought up to 25 centimeters of snow to many parts of the western province overnight. Now, the data from the airline tracking website FlightAware showed nearly 200 flights have been scheduled to arrive or depart on Tuesday, but they were cancelled. Another 67 were delayed, so be patient at the airports. The storm is also expected to bring the nasty weather to a large swathe of the United States. We already reported that from the Northwest and Great Plains southeast to the Appalachians. Well, the citizen there trying to show us how deep the snow is. So lots of shoveling, I guess, this weekend for people to make it out of their homes this Christmas. Our correspondent in Washington, Maria Bird, joins us now. Maria, there are about 37 states, they said, could be facing this cold snap. What are the likely chances that this could be reaching Washington, D.C., or affecting any of the states around that axis?
Well, what we're seeing already is some precipitation, but it's just rain. But they're expecting it to turn a bit icy this evening because we have extremely cold temperatures for this time of year. It's a bit early to be in the 20s and 30s, but that is the temperature that we're experiencing. They've said it's just going to be a rain and maybe ice, but they are also expecting potentially a white Christmas, which I think has been a long time since Washington has seen a white Christmas.
Yeah, white and really cold Christmas. I know that authorities are asking people to be patient because there are lots of flight disruptions going on in the United States. Flights being cancelled, not just in the U.S., but also in Canada. And, of course, those traveling by road being told to be a little more patient and careful on the roads because of the ice and because of the snow. But this isn't anything similar to the polar vortex that was experienced some years ago, is it?
No, this is a bit different. This is, we have obviously seen some extreme temperatures as climate change issues have eroded throughout the United States. So we've had a cold spell that's come through, and what you see in the Midwest, and as you stated, about 37 states are going to be impacted by this. Most of the eastern region, most of the Northeast will be experiencing some sort of storm. And so when you're talking about these type of temperatures, you can only expect that you will see some snow or ice as a result.
While it may look like fun to the kids, because I know lots of them might be outside playing with the snow, it'll be fun this weekend, this Christmas weekend, for a lot of families, just enjoying, the white Christmas and all of that. But the impact will be felt on extra, heating for the homes, and with the gas prices rising, energy prices rising as well. How much of an impact will this cold have on the pockets of many Americans?
Well, you bring up some very key points. We have, obviously, we have a large homeless population in some of our major cities across the United States, which will create additional needs for shelter. And so many states are having to put together emergency relief and ensuring that there is enough shelter for individuals who are actually homeless. But as you related directly to the energy cost, yes, energy costs are going to rise during this time of year due to the need for additional heat. It will likely be some additional support provided by many of the utility companies in that area for homes that might need that assistance. But it's going to be time for some fireplaces to be lit and for having lots of friends and family to keep warm inside the homes.
You mentioned, the homeless, and I know that during this season there is some concern about those who have no place to go. I know those shelters are not even as warm as they should be during this season. So what are cities preparing, on how to keep people warm, especially those who have nowhere else to go? Will there also be extra fireplaces at the shelters, extra blankets perhaps, warm clothing, coffee,
yes,
eggnogs, I guess?
Yes, exactly correct. The blankets will be a huge part of what they'll be providing. You'll see an extra influx of that type of support for those who are homeless. Many of the shelters potentially could have to open up buildings that do have better.
Yeah, I guess this must be one of the casualties of the cold in the United States. Our correspondents just lost signal there while speaking with us. Let's hope, the communication improves, or at least stays with us until the Christmas season is over, just to make sure people can still communicate with their loved ones. Thanks, Maria. If you can hear us wherever you are, we hope you're somewhere warm and safe. To other issues now in the United States, Manhattan U.S. Attorney Damian Williams said in a video posted on Twitter late yesterday that two former associates of FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried had pleaded guilty to fraud charges and were now cooperating with the government. Caroline Ellison, former CEO of Alameda Research, and Gary Wang, co-founder of FTX, pleaded guilty to defrauding investors in the crypto trading platform. According to Williams, the revelation that two of Bankman-Fried's closest former associates had decided to cooperate with the government significantly ramped up pressure on the former billionaire. Williams said that Bankman-Fried is now in the FBI custody. He's arrived in the United States from Bahamas, and he's also called on others involved in the alleged fraud to come forward. Talking about Williams now. Federal prosecutors in Manhattan last week charged Bankman-Fried with stealing billions of dollars in FTX customer assets to plug losses at his hedge fund, in what U.S. Attorney Williams called one of the biggest financial frauds in American history. He's just 30 years old. Cryptocurrency mogul has acknowledged risk management failures at FTX, but said he does not believe he has criminal liability.
Last week, we announced charges against Samuel Bankman-Fried for a sweeping fraud scheme that contributed to FTX's collapse, and for a campaign finance scheme that sought to influence public policy in Washington. As I said last week, this investigation is very much ongoing, and it's moving very quickly. I also said that last week's announcement would not be our last, and let me be clear once again, neither is today's. I want to make two announcements. First, I'm announcing that the Southern District of New York has filed charges against Caroline Ellison, the former CEO of Alameda Research, and Gary Wang, a co-founder of FTX, in connection with their roles in the frauds that contributed to FTX's collapse. Both Ms. Ellison and Mr. Wong have pled guilty to those charges, and they are both cooperating with the Southern District of New York. Let me reiterate a call that I made last week. If you participated in misconduct at FTX or Alameda, now is the time to get ahead of it. We are moving quickly, and our patience is not eternal. Second, I'm announcing that Samuel Bankman-Fried is now in FBI custody and is on his way back to the United States. He will be transported directly to the Southern District of New York, and he will appear in court before a judge in this district as soon as possible. Many individuals in the Bahamas and in the United States contributed to the swiftness of the defendant's return, and I want to thank the Bahamas for its outstanding assistance and excellent coordination with us. I also want to thank our partners at the United States Embassy in the Bahamas and the Justice Department's Office of International Affairs. And finally, I want to thank the FBI for moving mountains to get this done. This was a true team effort. Finally, I want to thank the career prosecutors from my office who are handling this case. We continue to work around the clock, and we are far from done.
Dozens of women were seen marching on streets in western Kabul earlier today, protesting a ban by the Taliban-run administration on women from tertiary education, according to a video that was posted on social media. A decision to bar women was announced on Tuesday evening in a letter to universities from the Higher Education Ministry of the Taliban, drawing condemnation from foreign governments and the United States since the announcement was made. Well, the ban is likely to complicate the Taliban administration's efforts to gain international recognition and get rid of sanctions that are severely hampering the country's economy. Welcome back to the world today. At least 2 people have been killed after torrential rains hit the southern Brazilian state of Santa Catarina. Local authorities say 2 sisters aged 17 and 18 died after being buried by mud in the town of Camboriú. The City Council of Camboriú has declared a state of emergency. Heavy spells of rainfall also damaged the road in Rio de Janeiro, while residents in Belo Horizonte reported damage to their homes. Flooding at this time of the year around Brazil is common and has caused devastation for decades. Asia's most wanted alleged drug kingpin has been extradited to Australia, where he faces potential life imprisonment. Seichi Lopez, accused of heading up a multi-billion-dollar drug operation spanning several countries in the Asia-Pacific, from Japan to New Zealand. The notorious figure, whose status in Asia has long drawn comparisons to Mexican drug lord El Chapo, was arrested at a Dutch airport last year by Interpol. Following a near 2-year battle, the 59-year-old has finally been extradited. He is alleged to be the head of one of the world's biggest multi-billion drug syndicates. So an update now on the Thai Navy ship that capsized on Sunday. Military experts say the corvette HTMS Sukhothai sank due to a loss of power and consequent flooding of the ship in storm and huge waves. The Navy ship Sukhothai had planned to anchor near the deep-water Prachuap port in central Thailand temporarily to wait for better weather. However, strong waves collapsed the warship instead. According to the Royal Thai Navy, the strong waves incurred flooding into the electrical systems, which resulted in a loss of power, and the ship went out of control, sinking in the Gulf of Thailand. In the meantime, the Thai warships and helicopters have been working around the clock to rescue the remaining 23 missing sailors. In other news now, as we move closer to the season of Christmas, through Jerusalem's old city walls came a man dressed as Santa Claus, delivering holiday cheer and Christmas trees, not presents. Interesting, of course, to the residents of the Holy City. His name is Isa Kassisi, a Palestinian Christian who has in recent years distributed joy and trees provided by the municipality in a city sacred to Jews, Muslims and Christians alike. This year, he was accompanied by the U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Thomas Nitz, who called for peace on earth. Jerusalem, home to the sites holy to the Muslim, Jewish and Christian religions, is a tourist attraction for tens of thousands of pilgrims each year. Christmas story, don't we? A Polish miniature railway company has built gingerbread cities as sets for Christmas this year, with buildings decorated, oh, there it is, decorated in colored icing and trains made of chocolate. A company called Jokwo has built the sets at its locations in Gliwice and Wrocław in Poland's south and took its inspiration from them. Those cities come complete with churches, houses, recreations of the city's medieval town halls, and other buildings such as a zoo and a castle, all made with gingerbread and chocolate. Each one required more than 300 eggs and 360 kilograms of sugar, as well as hundreds of kilograms of honey and spices. Jokwo CEO at its Gliwice site, Jakub Brzezinski, says a gingerbread city is fully edible. Visitors usually nibble away at it. I can't blame them. It looks just as delicious as it is creative. Thanks for watching. I'm Amarachi Ubani.